Good afternoon, sir and friends. Today I will show you our presentation with from the summarized about the journal, and the title of the journal is The Teacher's Talk in Online Learning Verbal Interaction using the Flanders Interaction Analysis Categorized System. But before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Yesinta Septiana Tarigan. Class interaction. Flanders divides class interaction into two, namely teacher and student talk, which is then further categorized into verbal and non-verbal interaction. First, verbal interaction, namely the interaction that occurs through teacher and student talk. The teacher's talk has indirect and direct influence. Non-verbal interaction using only facial expression and gestures when interacting. When the world is facing the COVID-19 pandemic, the teaching and learning process can only be done through the lens. Having a different environment can result in ignorance and shock. This was also found by one of the English teachers at SMP Ahmad Yani Binjai, where the teacher's talk that occurs during class interaction is mostly an indirect influence. And today we will discuss about how is the type of teacher talk applied to students during online verbal interaction, and how is the realization of teacher talk during online verbal interaction in class based on the Flanders interaction analysis category system. And the data will be we found at the journal. And then what is the classroom interaction? Noni states that through interaction, students will be able to increase their language skills and level as interaction provides a lot of input and output through listening and speaking. Encourage students more in using the language and provide students acquisition and acquaintance with the language. And there is three types of classroom interaction. First, teacher-learner interaction. First, teacher-learner interaction. This interaction is mostly done by the teacher, as it involves the teacher interacting with the students about the content of the lesson, asking questions, giving direction, and criticizing or justifying the students' talk. And then the second, learner-learner interaction. This interaction should be well structured and managed to have students and get the cognitive development, educational achievement of students, and emerging social competencies. And then the teacher-whole classroom interaction. This interaction happens mostly in English as foreign language classroom, as the teacher needs to initiate teachers' whole class interaction by asking questions and receiving students' responses. And then next, we will discuss about the teacher's talk. The definition, as described by Sinclair, as sits in Yanfan and Yukin, is the language used most frequently in classroom interaction, such as giving instruction, describing events, and testing students' comprehension. And how about the types of teacher talk? According to Flanders, that occur in the classroom are: first, response or indirect influence, like accept feeling, for example, thank you for asking me, class. And then praises or encourages, like good job, and go on. Praises or encourages, it can be action or behavior jokes to release tension, but not at the expense of another individual. And then accepts or uses ideas of students, clarifying, building, or developing ideas suggested by students. For example, like this, do you know why bird flying? Yeah, it can stand out. Okay, and then the next ask question. For example, do you know why bird flying? And then the second types of teacher talk is intuition or direct influence. For example, like lecturing. Read this book and hear my explanation. And giving direction, like exam, like comment to your students, like please read the book. And like criticizing or justifying authority, for example, no, thanks, not true. And in this criticizing, you can, as teacher, you can give the solution or the right answer to the students. Okay, next we will discuss. We will talk about what is Flanders interaction analysis. Flanders interaction in analysis is a type of classroom interaction analysis that focuses solely on verbal behavior, primarily because it can be observed with greater reliability than nonverbal behavior, and more importantly, because it is assumed that an individual's behavior is an adequate sample of their overall behavior. And then how the advantages of Flanders interaction analysis. According to Bach, as cited in Amatari, claims that Flanders interaction analysis can to serve as vital feedback to the teacher or teacher in training on their intention and actual behavior in the classroom. And then it could be easily followed by the supervisor on inspecting the staff. And then Flanders interaction analysis can can be an effective tool to measure the social emotional climate in the classroom. And then we will talk about how the precautions in the use of Flanders interaction analysis and how the limitation of Flanders interaction analysis. First, precaution in the use of Flanders interaction analysis. In using Flanders interaction analysis, it should be known that only the observer should do the encoding work during the research. It means like uh, in using Flanders interaction analysis, it should be known that only the observer should be to the encoding work during the research, since they are most familiar with the entire process and are aware of its limitation. And it is best to stop making assumptions about what is good and what is bad in terms of teaching behavior, because this is only an explanation tool. And then the limitation of Flanders interaction analysis, it should be known that the system doesn't describe the overall amount of classroom activity. Some behaviors will be overlooked, and there could be the possibility that the unrecorded parts of the teaching acts will be more important than those which are recorded. And then, and this is the data that have found in that journal, the types of teacher talk applied in online verbal interaction. There are two types. First type, indirect influence. Like based on the data identified, it was found that there were 165 or 60.22% teacher talks that belong to direct influence, and there were 109 or 39.78% talks that belong to indirect influence. For further explanation, data could be seen in the journal. And then the teacher lets the students respond verbally in the classroom and encourage them with the intention of maximize students' participation in the classroom. And this is the definition of indirect influence. And then the direct influence. Teachers tend to take over the control in the classroom interaction, as most of the students need direction to interact in the classroom. When the online classroom was held, most of the students were passive. Therefore, the teacher needs to give direction to stimulate the students' participation in the classroom. All right. And the second, the journal found what about the realization of teacher talk applied in online verbal interaction. According to Flanders 1970, the realization for teacher talk could be done when all categories of teacher talk from two main types. It was indirect influence and direct influence could be applied fully in the classroom. It was found that there were 6 out of the 7 types of teacher talk based on Flanders interaction analysis category system. The overall talks produced by the teacher themselves were 274 talks in which the most dominant type of interaction was giving direction, with 63 talks or 22.99%, and the least dominant was access or use ideas of students with 35 talks or 12.77%. On the other hand, it was found from the present study that the realization of teacher talk in online verbal interaction do not fully conducted since the last category of teacher talk, criticizing and justifying authority, was not found in the data analysis. So the last is the conclusion. The main types of teacher talk identified in classroom verbal interaction were both indirect influence and direct influence, and the most dominant category is giving direction of direct influence. Three reasons for a teacher use teacher's talk in that way, namely, first, teacher use teacher's talk to influence students' mastery or foreign language, and the second, teacher want to influence students' participation in class, and the third, teacher use teacher's talk to motivate students in class. So, for the audience, that's all about our presentation about the teacher talk in online learning verbal interaction using the Flanders interaction analysis categories system. And I hope you can find the benefit from our explanation, from our presentation. So, if I have made mistaken, uh, please forgive me. So please, thank you for your attention. I'm Yesinta. See you.